30 books and reports in Australian history, including some biographies and family histories. In 2001, he was commissioned by Monsignor Tom Doyle to write a biography of Monsignor John F. Kelly, which was published as a book by Alan Unwin in 2006. So Rob today is speaking on Cardijn and the work of Monsignor John F. Kelly. Please welcome Rob Pascoe.
History is very unkind. Today, a few hours ago, if you Googled the phrase John F. Kelly, you would discover that President Trump has appointed him as Chief of Staff. I assure you, this is a different John F. Kelly, and most of you knew him very well, much better than I ever did. I never met him. And I was really astonished, of course, to hear how well everybody here in this room knew the people we just talked about, Solomon and Berkey, and now it feels as if I knew them as well. So thank you for those previous speakers. Thank you also for David Maloney for bringing us together. This has been, for me, a really engaging moment with friends like Mick Lay and my old colleague Des Carl, and people I haven't seen for a long time. However, I need to tell you that I have a Belgian friend in the group today, Jacques Boulet, who tells me I've got to call him Cardijn. And he's the only Belgian in the room, so I'm not going to argue with Jacques about that. I want to also acknowledge the work, how pleased I was that Tom Doyle asked me to do this book, because I know a lot of you wanted to write the history of John F. Kelly. He was very popular with a lot of people, and I was really once I realised, when I was going to the story of John F. Kelly, I realised how important it was that I was telling a story for all of you. And I'd done other biographies in his family histories. Ralph Sierakowski died last week. He's being buried today, 101 years of age, by Michael, his son, out there in Bentley. So I pay my respects to the Sierakowski family. Brian, his son, promises a eulogy which will tell the cardinal, the 2 bishops, and the 10 priests who attends today what he thinks about the church. Brian, of course, played in the back line for St Kilda with a premiership win, and so Brian doesn't take a step back. And Brian has promised me a copy of the eulogy, which I'll then put into nicer English and send to the Age as an obituary for the great Sierakowski family. I also I want to thank others in the room who've given me some ideas about Kelly, and Val Noon in particular, who, as I went around and met people who knew Kelly, I realised how important this man was. I was very lucky that the archivist of the Catholic Education Office had kept Kelly's diaries. Now, those of you who are archivists, close your ears for a second, because we historians have an issue with archivists, which is that we think their job is to keep stuff from us. And any archivists in the room? No. Finally, I worked out there was, by going through a manifest of stuff that Kelly left for the Catholic Office of Family, there was these diaries, and I rushed downstairs to the bowels of the Catholic Education Office and said to the archivist, I want to see the Kelly diaries. To which he replied, I wondered how long it would take you to work out that question. So I had the Kelly diaries, and really remarkably, I discovered things about Kelly which he said to the diary which he didn't say to anybody else. And I was really felt privileged to actually be in the thoughts of Kelly as I wrote the book. And the book would have been quite a superficial book without Kelly's diaries. And I got them all. I persuaded Doyle to pay for their transcription, and they're available electronically if you want to use them. So if you want to talk about Norris, for example, Norris before, he's mentioned. And a lot of people we've talked about today are actually the Kelly diaries. And with the wonders of digital technology, you can just quickly find these people as you go through. So if you're researching this period, you should look at Kelly diaries. Kelly is here today as kind of another version of the story. He was too cerebral to actually ever become successful in his first few years in responding to the challenge that Cardijn offered the priesthood. He was a man of 6 PhDs. He was not a man with a common touch. He did not know how to do the things that we just heard from John Bonici about how you actually make this work until much later in his life, and I'll try to explain how that came about. He struggled with this message. partly because he obscured his own background. He was born in Kelly Country in Mansfield to publicans who ran the Delatite Hotel, the hotel where John Maloney famously finished his book about Kelly, sitting upstairs on top there, overlooking what's called the Kelly Monument, the monument to the 3 cops that Kelly's gang killed. And that's where our Kelly, began life. And he never really reconciled himself till right to the very end in talking to some of his priest friends about his life. He never really reconciled himself to the fact that he was a son of a publican. Because in those days, being a publican's child was anathema. If you were a daughter of a publican, you certainly weren't allowed to go to Sacré-Cœur. I mean, the schools actually wouldn't let you in, because being Irish publican, the job of being a publican was actually a really important way of getting on, as also for the Sirakoskis. He spends adolescence in Seymour and in Port Fairy, and then learned that the Irish story in Australia is a very complex story, that the Irish in Port Fairy are often not Protestant Irish, so it's actually a kind of according to some historians, the origins of sectarianism can be found in Western Victoria, because there you find that clash between Protestant Irish, Catholic Irish and the Scots Graziers. He then was educated at Ballarat at St Pat's, and of course was one of the top students in his year. Went to Werribee and nurtured though it might have been, according to our speakers today, he had a breakdown and was advised very wisely to begin a diary in 1934. Wisely, because it made my job much easier. Wisely, because in fact it made him much happier, I think, to be able to report to his diary what was going on in his life. His first appointment was to Kyneton, and there he met another kind of Catholic, of course, the Catholics who talked about by Vin Buckley in Cutting Green Hay. A really different kind of Catholics, Irish Catholics who were prosperous and who were kind of very loyal to the church, and not at all like the Kellys from Kelly Country. They were quite different sort of Irish. And then he began reading Virginia Woolf in 1938. Now, I mention that because he is the first person that I've ever read about in Australia to actually take the modernists seriously. To understand that, yes, you read your Dickens, you read your Trollope, you read Jane Austen, but then you've got to confront James Joyce. You've got to confront Virginia Woolf. You've got to confront all these great writers who, after about 1910, begin to challenge so many of the settled notions of the 19th century about who we are and how we come to be. And I think that coincidence of discovering the modernists at the same time as discovering the teaching of Cardijn is very important to understanding how Kelly understands that what this Belgian is teaching us is actually really important to knowing how you can be a priest in the modern world. And what was important for Kelly was that the Irish church in Australia, in his mind, had to be subverted. There had to be a kind of a reworking of what the church was about in order for the church to be successful. And if you read his diary in this period, you'll see in fact that he understands his limitations. He understands he can't be a Lombard. Oh, please, Lombard was talking about today, because Lombard, I think, was the antithetical kind of priest in this period. Lombard, embraced Santa Maria, embraced a lot of what was going on in the church. Kelly was deeply, bitterly opposed to Santa Maria, and deeply disappointed, as Val was saying a bit earlier, about Mannix's submission to Santa Maria. And in the diary, Kelly changes his words. Before he gets known by Mannix, he's the Archbishop. Then he becomes called Daniel in the diary. And then after 55, 56, he goes back to being called the Archbishop. And that's so telling in terms of how Kelly understands power in the church and his own obedience to Mother Church, but at the same time, his revulsion about what was going on in the Catholic Rite. He was sent by Mannix to West Melbourne in the late 1930s, 1939, and there he discovered poverty. And in this lithograph, which the family gave me permission to publish, by the Nutter Buzzard lithograph, you can see the kind of poverty that some of you have talked about already today. The poverty which was Australia long after the Depression was finished. A country which was groaning under the oppressive conditions of this time. And so what did the priest tell Kelly to do, the priest in charge? To go and do a census. So he's going out and meeting people in the street. Actually, go and ask them, are you a good Catholic? You've been in church lately. So of course, he reports in his diary that they all ran from him. As soon as they saw him in his clerical gear, they ran. He made no successful contact with the people of West Melbourne. And so, in an attempt to set up some kind of youth group, he failed. His first attempt failed. And his diary talks about the anguish he felt about trying to make this formula work. It didn't work at all. So they tried him in radio broadcasting. He had a program called Question Box. People would send questions in, he'd answer theologically what he thought the answers of the day were to particular problems at the time. He also helped in producing a monthly publication. He tried, after Mannix had approved Catholic Action, tried, of course, to set up another youth group in Footscray, where he was sent in 1942. Right in the worst years of the war, he went to Footscray, which was, at that moment, also in a very dire strait. So you've gone from West Melbourne to Footscray, you're really seeing the worst of the effects of the Depression. In his diary, he talks about some people came into the St Monica's Presbytery begging for money late at night, and how he treated them. And it was pretty, I'd have to say, pretty indifferently he treated people who came to the front door. And I'll talk about this in the biography. So the biography has quite a lot from his diaries. You see him struggling really with the challenges he's facing in Footscray. He begins reading very widely the Belgian and French theologians as early as 1930s. Straight after seminary, he's reading the people who have become important in Vatican II. So Vatican II, as an idea, he understands probably 10 years ahead of the rest of his contemporaries. He understands that the church is going to change, and that these people with these new ideas from Belgium and from France have got ideas that are kind of revolutionary going to be important for the remaking of the church. And so he's sent by the bishops with £1,000 to do a tour of Europe and America in 1959, and he meets all these important theologians and understands and talks to them and understands what they're trying to say. And in the book, I try to link his meetings with these theologians, the readings that he reports of these theologians, and what happens in the Second Vatican Council, and trying to show us all the triangulation between how an Australian priest would understand people like Conga, and then how Conga was interpreted at the council, and then what we can read from that interaction. He then writes the New Catechism, which is, for many Catholics in this room, would still be the book that, I suppose, guided you in your formation as younger Catholics. And many people I interviewed for this book still had their Kelly catechisms on a shelf and could quote from those two volumes. He then was put in charge of Catholic education following Dan Conquest. Dan, whom I interviewed, fortunately before he passed away, was able to tell me a lot about what he was trying to do in terms of reducing the misogyny in the church, trying to in the school system, trying to get rid of some of the corporal punishment, some of the things that Dan was trying to do, and then he gave an assessment of what he thought Kelly was able to do at a time when the Catholic Education Office was meant to be a kind of a small office. But because of the growth of the system, it became an enormously important office across the breadth of the Melbourne diocese. And so in that period, Kelly is really overseeing the development of a school system of which he has very little control. The first time he knows about many of the new schools is when he's invited to go out there and open the school. And so there's the Catholic Education Office that Doyle had and that my wife had, Susan Pascoe had, is quite different from the sort of the Catholic Education Office that was around in Kelly's period. He's then given the great reward of being sent to Deep Dean, which, as Brendan Reid will tell you, is a magical place to be. They've just recently redone the altar there, redone the interior of the church and made it into a post-conciliar church. And so it's a stunning parish to be put in charge of. And he really enjoyed his time at Deep Dean. And people I interviewed, people like Noreen Minogue, people who his parishioners, his best friends there, spoke very warmly about his time at Deep Dean. And while there, he was given a new challenge. This challenge was to create the NPI, the National Pastoral Institute, which many in this room would know about. And I want to conclude on this point, because I think it's only at this moment, having failed 3 times, to be part of the activists who took Cardijn's ideas seriously and put them into place, that we finally, does Kelly actually get to the point where he's able to make something of his life as a priest vis-a-vis these important principles. And I want to give you his diary notes from 10th of March 1973, perfect time. This is what he wrote to himself. And I would challenge anybody in this room at the age of 63 to be able to reflect on your life as he did here. To say that my whole relation to people, God in people, my long-standing difficulty to open up, to expand. I've said to yourself, I've got to do these things. But almost with the same hymn book that John Benici just quoted a minute ago about how he works in his practice. Listen rather than speak. Listen to what people are feeling. Recognise people are ill at ease, have problems. Don't simply discuss them. Look at people when talking. Be content with silence. Don't try to fill it with nervous talking. How good is this? Do not use humour as an escape. He was a very sardonic man. Some good no. Like if you didn't agree with something, you'd say, "Oh, that wouldn't have happened in Mannix's day." And he had that kind of sense of humour, which was biting and sardonic, which he tried to get rid of in his older years. Face situations, comfort people with patience and kindness. Too low an opinion of how other people rate oneself. Respond to people rather than from self. I mean, how important is that in life? And finally, mask hiding your real self. Fear of rejection, fear of being hurt. And so much of his diary is this horrible feeling of being hurt. Because as a son of a publican, to his dying day, he felt humbled by his origins. But I think at Deep Dean and with the NPI, and interviewed a lot of people who were involved with the NPI, he found a kind of contentment at last. And the older pictures of Kelly show us a man who is at peace with what he achieved in his life. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Any questions? Rob Pascoe.
I'm between you and lunch, I understand that. And Brian's got the problem being between us and saying goodbye this afternoon. So Brian Lucas and I talked about the problems of being where we are on the programme. So we can perhaps take this over lunch.
No? Question? Could you stand up and identify yourself?
Brian Lasher in Preston was in 1956 to 1964, so I went to the seminary. It was interesting.